We'll get to the crochet and stuff in just a minute, but I just wanted to show you what I was doing with my dehydrator. And then I want to show you Duke. Oh my gosh, we were cooler this morning, and Duke had the zoomies. I just turned off my dehydrator. And this is the peppers that I dehydrated. And these are going to get ground up and made into pepper flakes. Now I have the Nesco, American Harvest Nesco dehydrator. And it has more racks, but I have them stored up here. What you got, Duke? You got the zoomies. That's what you got. Then there's this guy. You not got the zoomies this morning? You're good? All right. Duke. Zoomy, zoomy, zoomy. Are you waiting for me to put something in that bowl? You are? Yeah? She's not your mommy, is she? Turtle. There's Callie. There's Callie. Yeah, she thinks I'm gonna put something in that bowl too. Yeah. Okay, here's where I'm at with my latest diamond painting. Not my latest. This is the one I've been working on for a while. This was given to me by Tank. I have finished all of this side and all the way over. I just have a few left on this one here. I just have a few pieces left in here. And I'm gonna try to finish this. I've been watching Star Trek again. I finished there. This is what I have it covered for. And then all I have left is this piece here. I'm going to try to finish this now and get it on my wall. I think that it's probably going to go over there above my scrap bucket. Sound good, bud? Hi there. Okay. This is Monday, the 20th of October, 2025. I thought that I would show you, I got some yarn caked up yesterday for some projects. Got everything ready to go, and so I'm gonna start these projects today. Before I do, I want to show you, I finished another washcloth. Oh, you guys seem a little bit cockeyed. I'm wearing my shrug that I made, and I've got it pinned so it doesn't fall off. Now, I love this yarn, and the color was Harvest Hues. Oh, you're gonna be able to see. Yeah, maybe you can. Harvest Hues. And this is the color. I love this yarn cotton. Serbs is over there. I'm washing his other blanket. Okay. So that's not right. That Harvest Hues, that was the crocheted one. I showed you that last night. This one is this color, and it's Sugar Wheel Cotton, Nutmeg Nibbles, 335 yards. I've already gotten one crochet washcloth out of it, which had like a lighter brownish color. And then this is the knit one that I just finished. Very soft and drapey. In my opinion right now, I'm thinking this is the wrong kind of cotton for washcloths. I think it's too soft. It might be better if I held it double. Maybe I should try that before I give up on it. It's 100% cotton. It's more of a 3-weight. So maybe I should just hold it double and see how that is. Might be a little bit more substantial. I am using my pattern for the Grandma's Knit washcloth. And needles that I picked up, I got another one on the go. These needles, one of them is bent. I don't care. These are my favorite needles for washcloths. They are a US 7 4.5 millimeter. We got these, a whole set of these wooden knitting needles from, I can show you, they're over there. So over here in that picture, right here, there's a whole set of them. Mr. Fiber and I got them, and it's funny because I started my channel after we got these. In Omaha, Nebraska, we went on a road trip, and I bought yarn, and these were bought at a place called Mangelson's. And Mangelson's was a like 5-dime craft. Their motto is one of a kind of anything store. Now I've had to practice saying that. And now I'm starting, washcloth. This is KC yarn. I've already made 2 out of this and I love it. And now I'm making a 3rd one. I don't know whether I'll have enough to make an entire one. We shall see. But yeah, that's where we got that set of needles. Was at Mangelson's, a one-of-a-kind kind of anything store. And I bought several skeins of yarn. And you can see that yarn haul if you go to my very first video. It is the one that I posted to start my channel. It's when I pushed the button, was with that yarn haul. And I was telling Matt and Rebecca the other day, Matt the Rockin' Crocheter and Fiber Jazz Rebecca, I was telling them, I said, I started my channel by hauling and I'm still hauling. And my latest haul is a yarn from Bag O Day called Pink Cherry Soda. Now this is a 80% superwash, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon DK weight yarn. And I'm going to hold it together with this one by Mace of Skeins called Royal Flush Purple Dragon Martini, which is a lace weight, 72 kid mohair and 28 silk, 459 yards. Okay, so 459 yards for that one. Let me show you what that one looks like. That's this. It's a purple. And then the yarn I got from, this is, I caked it. I caked the purple yarn. I caked Crystal's yarn. And I think, and yesterday I said that it was Emmy that made this. It's not Emmy. It's Evelyn. Evelyn dyed this yarn. And see a lot of it right here. Now, this DK weight one is only 231 yards. So I had another yarn in my stash from Amber back when she had Amber's Yarn Shop, and she's now called Crafty Performers. And this is her Excalibur DK weight yarn called Winter Solstice. And that's what that looks like. So I caked her yarn with the purple as well. And I used every bit of the purple to do this, and then I cut it, and whatever was left of Amber's, I put on a cake by itself. So I virtually have 247 plus 231, 448, 478 yards is what I have between these 3 skeins. So 478 yards. This is the crystal one, the amber one. Nope. Yes, that's the crystal Bag O Day. That's the amber, and that's the amber by itself. Okay, what am I making? So for Dyslexia Month, which is Make It Red, and I chose this one for this project because this has bits of red in it. It's pink to red to black. And it's really hard to see, but there is some red, a bit of a darker that might blend in with the red. I mean, pink is a lighter, it's a lighter red, right? I'm making the spiral rib cowl. Now, I've printed the pattern from the book. This is the book. Knit Red. And this is for the American Heart Association. And all of the women who did patterns for this book have had some sort of a heart issue, which also works for me as well, since I have had heart ablation done for AFib. And then I suffer with PVCs. Now the pattern I'm doing is on page 6 of this book. And that's what that looks like. Super easy. It's just a rib. It's just a real simple rib pattern. And that is what I'm going to make with that yarn. And then the other pattern I'm doing for Dyslexia Month, which is #MakeItRed, is this pattern on the front of the crochet magazine. This is Interweave Crochet issue from June of 2019. Spring 2019. I don't know if this has an issue. I do not see an issue number. I don't see an issue number. But it's called the Museo Wrap. And it took me a while to collect all the yarn for it. But there is the yarn I'm using. And I'm using a Fashion 3. They used a 10. This is called Scarlet. It's 150 yards each. And I have 8 of them. So that is what I'm making for Make It Red at the moment. Those are the 2 projects. I have yarn pulled for a 3rd project, and I'm not quite sure yet what I'm going to do with that one. All right, so I had a request from Sally at Nanny Moon's Crochet, and I hope that you will go over and join Sally. She is so sweet, and she does so many wonderful projects. I got to get this out of the way. I keep hooking myself on it. And she's very encouraging, and I enjoy watching her very, very much. I believe I started watching her when she was doing her Sophie's Universe. And she asked to see some of my books up closer. Well, you know, I recently bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these books, which are called Stitch by Stitch. They're an older book. And it was when Mr. Fiber and I went to Altus, Oklahoma for a little weekend trip. These books are teaching books, and they have picture tutorials in them. They have hints and tips and projects. And they do a lot, anything you stitch. So it's knitting, crochet, sewing, and some other little crafts for the home. A little bit like a magazine would have been. I believe these were ones that you would have ordered through a subscription, and then each month you got a book. It also has stitching needlework and counted cross stitch and things of that nature in here too. Now this particular book is from 1986, printed by Marshall Cavendish, printed in Belgium. This one is volume 16. It's from Torstar Books. So those are all the things I know about this book. And let me show you. They start out, see they have crochet courses. This is how to do edgings. So a bobble edging, a looped edging, 4 edging patterns, edgings for tablecloths and window shades. See, there's your loops. Here's a tablecloth, the edge of a tablecloth. Then here's one, how to sew a little pig pillow. Then this next one is a course for crochet and how to make triangles. And I thought of Sally because Sally just finished doing the Granny Goes Random blanket. This one shows you how to do corners and halfy squares. So it made me think of you, Sally, if you're watching. And then it goes into how to shape things with triangles. So see at the top, it shows you all the different kinds of shapes that you can make using triangles. And then there's a coat. And it shows you how to put the coat together and how to use different shapes of triangles to make like under the arms, around the collar, and things like that. And then the next tutorial is how to do circular ribbed motifs. I have never ever seen ribbed circles in crochet. Now let me show you, because there's a poncho. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Let me show you the poncho first, but look. Do you see the ribs? I've never seen that in crochet. Have you guys? That is just, here they are doing, this picture might help a little bit right here. I've never seen that before. That's a new one on me. And then they're showing how to do patchwork. So you make strips, patchwork strips, and they're showing you how to do different patterns using patchwork strips. For instance, and they do a vest in this one. So they're doing patchwork on purpose. This one is embroidery, how to do a little hanky with a butterfly. And they give you the pattern. And then there's knitting socks. Knitting in rounds to make socks. Working ribbed socks with French heel and flat toe. And then patterns for doing children's socks. And then the next course is how to mend socks. They've thought through this whole thing so very well. I have my mother-in-law had sock mending. Watch out, Serbs. Watch out, Bubby. Go back over there, honey. Go back and lay down. Yeah. There you go. She had the eggs for mending socks. And you You push these into the toe or the area wherever it needs to be mended, and you go around it, and it puts the area whatever needs to be mended in. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. They have some here that are similar. They look like a mushroom. And then they have all the different techniques on how to mend that. I mean, these books they have some wonderful resources in them. Now realize there are some people who can't read things to learn. I have trouble because I'm dyslexic. Reading a pattern is still my preferred way to work a pattern. If I get pictures and I get a tutorial to go with it, I prefer to have them both. So if I get a written pattern and it has a tutorial, I will read along with them. Usually I read the whole pattern through, and I decide what yarn I'm going to use, the needles I'm going to use, and I begin the pattern by watching the tutorial. And then I always have the pattern to go back and say, now where did that go? Because I get lost in the tutorial as easily as I get lost in the pattern. And that's because of my dyslexia. And sometimes I have to read the pattern out loud. So I will go in often and I will show Mr. Fiber what I'm working on, and he has no idea the lingo. He has no idea. I will tell him what I'm making and show him the pattern. And a lot of times I will read it to him and say, now it says this, this, and this. And he will say to me, well, I don't think that's what it says. That part right there, I don't think that's what it's telling you to do. And then we'll have to rethink what I'm reading. And it just helps to read it out loud to him and show him what I'm working on. The next one is how to do ribbing. So this next section's about remodeling your knitting, replacing ribbing, and then adding some fabric to a knitted piece, which I think is, look at all of this on how to add the fabric so you can reinforce edges of something. Say you have a favorite sweater and all it really is getting a little shambled on the edges. You can go through and either replace it with more yarn or a different color or whatever, or you can add material to it. Now, my mother made a lot of things for me, but she never sewed them together with a needle and the yarn. My mother was a sewist, and she sewed all of her pieces together with the sewing machine. There's a couple of children's dresses, and they have, like this one has a material top on it. Fabric top. Here's how to make a pillow with ruffles. Here's a course on using a spool. Now I have 2 or 3 knitting buddies, I believe is what they're called, and they make I-cord. It's not my favorite thing to do. And it takes a while. It really does. I know you're just spinning, but it takes a while. I much prefer using the Addy for making faster fabrics than I do doing the I-cord stuff on the little spools, because it just takes forever. But they made a bag, and they did that by rolling it together, and then you sew it. That is way too labor intensive for me. But you can freeform it and you can make artwork to hang on your wall. And then here is a sweater. They show you how to make the sweater, and then they tell you how to make the cord, and then you attach the cord to the sweater. Yeah, that's just way too labor intensive. Here's how to make a top. Like I said, this one has sewing, and they give you things like making the bag to go with it, and it's using like a silky fabric. Here they're telling you how to do a binding. If I wanted to really learn more sewing techniques, there's a lot in these. How to make a pair of culottes. Oh, remember culottes? Now I just wear capris. How to make a skirt with pleats. A double-breasted blouse. It's a lot of sewing techniques in here. Pleated dresses. Two-piece suit. You know, it used to be women had to make all their own clothing, because if you got a job, say as a secretary or a bookkeeper or something of that nature, and you needed to look nicely for an office, you couldn't afford to go out and buy all new clothes. You had to make your own clothes. Here's one in stitching, and they give you all of those stitches. Man, look at those. They put that on the front of a notebook, and that gave me ideas. All right, now if you're asking where's the crochet, we have crochet. I love this jacket. I don't know. They're calling this a enhanced geometric motif jacket from Indian Designs. Then we have a crochet wrap. They're calling this a wraparound. We have a bathrobe, a little girl's bathrobe, and a bear. Okay, there's nobody going to be sticking a bear on her bathrobe. Not one that size. An applique maybe, but they do give you the instructions for the bear. Then we're back to knitting, Fair Isle knitting, a Fair Isle jacket, and then you know that cording that they're having you make? They use it to go along the edging of the jacket. They put it along the edgings. So you're putting that, what you learned, to work for that as well. We're back to sewing, how to make button loops, how to do a lining, zippers, all these little dresses. Oh my gosh. I made one of these once as a costume for my daughter. That almost reminds me of the flour sack dresses we used to make. This one I thought was cool. This is applique, and they did this both in material, fabric, and in knitting. And I imagine if you wanted to do a crochet version of a country scene or something, even a flower, anything like that, you could definitely frame it. And then we have ideal for a studio apartment or a guest room. It's a fitted bedspread with corded edges. Yeah, Stitch by Stitch, Volume 16. All right, you guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed that. I will get back with you once I get started on these projects, and I'll show you my progress. Thank you for joining me. Have fun today. Love y'all. Bye. You have anything to say, Serbs? Anything? No? Bye, y'all.